Hi, this is Dana, and this is my third video today about empaths. God is guiding me to make another video, so I guess God is in a hurry that this information would reach somebody in particular. In this video, I will talk about the power of an empath, and is the third one about empaths today. So I hope whoever you are, you're going to listen to this, you're going to receive somehow the information in divine timing. Okay, so talking about the power of empath, um, it will be a little bit peculiar because usually empaths, or at least as I said, because I don't believe there are empaths on this planet. Everybody should be empath. Everybody should have empathy. It's just somebody who has more of a feminine energy developed and didn't reach necessarily the balance between feminine and masculine energy, between the empath and the warrior. But anyhow, talking about those who label themselves as empaths, they usually do not perceive their power as power. They look at it in a different way. The power of an empath, which usually focuses mostly on healing, on divination, connection with divinity, right? So it focuses more, it's more sort of like withdrawn from the astral layout, where usually there's a lot of fighting happening. So the power essentially of an empath resides in his or her light, because you can be a man or a woman that identifies itself as an empath. So it resides in your light. It comes from your light, your connection to God and the entire divine realm. And this is regardless of the religion where you come from. There are a lot of structures in divine realm. You have the Akashic records, you have the karmic board. They're according to whatever religious background you come, you have different types of ascended masters and other lights of being and ancestors that people tend to connect to according to their path. So this, all in all together, all this, I call it ideal world. Yeah, this is what I call my ideal world, is the connection between the entire divine realm and yourself. And clearly the light that you carry, and the light that you carry comes from the choices you made. And when you say choices, you mean what you decided to think, what you decided to do, what you decided to refuse to do. Um, in general, choices. Everything we do and we are, it's a choice. We choose to be good, we choose to be bad, we choose to be right, we choose to be wrong. We choose every and it's this is manifested in different ways, on different levels, on rational level, on emotional level, because you can decide to not harm anybody, but harboring very dark feelings, emotions towards someone, that can in itself transform into an attack. If you truly hate someone, and especially if it's unjustified, then you have the ability to actually transform that hate into a darkness attack on that person. Through the feelings or emotions you harbor, you create what is called forms of emotions or forms of thought, which is an entity without a body, but it's an entity. It's like a demon which you send to that person. So harboring bad feelings, jealousy, envy, greed, hate, um, gossiping, especially, everything that you do and you are can will come down to your light, will basically define your light or lack of light, for that matter. Darkness, in case you harbor these dark emotions. Okay, so your light comes from the choices you make, and I try to describe that. It's a very complex layout of how you can make choices, sometimes without necessarily consciously thinking about the choice that you make. But that's a choice in itself to not think through. When a negative feeling for someone comes, it's your choice if you entertain that thought or you push it aside. That's a choice in itself. Okay, so from the choices you make, this is where the light is defined from the choices you made throughout different lifetimes, because you did this in many different lifetimes. The purity of your intentions behind your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, and so on. And of course, the love and compassion in its pure form towards people and situations and so on. Your light also comes, as I said, from previous lifetimes, whatever you did in those lifetimes. So that matters as well. But it also comes from, for example, how you chose to react when you were in unjustly harmed, or injustice that was done to you. How you choose to react to that. If you because when injustice or harm is done to you, that's a lot of darkness that is being sent to you one way or another. We're not talking which way, but it's a lot of darkness, right? And you can choose to transmute that and detach and stay with God and so on, and continue to create light. Or you can choose to you yourself respond on the same level and create yourself darkness as a retaliation to that. Or you can choose to just simply sit and wallow and I'm sorry. My voice is a bit off today. So you can choose to wallow in that darkness which is being sent to you, feel sorry for yourself, and essentially you're just harboring darkness. So whatever you chose to do when injustice was done to you, and how that transformed you, who you became afterwards, that's also a factor which defines your life. All of this influence the type of life you carry, right? Your values, your deeds, your actions, if you did good in this and other previous lifetimes, and so on. And if your actions aligned with your values, and so on, if you confirm. So your life comes from all of this as an empath. Uh, it is always a matter of a choice and faith. How your life is defined, the quality of your life. Let's say it this way. It reflects who you are in all ways possible, and who you ever were, and what path you chose each and every time. And this is an energy level, but this determines not only your energy, but also the rights, the divine rights you have, the gifts you have, and the purpose you have here in 3D, right? Because more light, the stronger or more powerful light you have, you will have different rights, because you're supposed to accomplish more. You're supposed to, supposedly, you have you're stronger, you have more power, so then you're able to achieve more than others, right? Well, all of this is subjected to attacks, as basically people and the matrix overall, which we will discuss in a different video, um, want to steal those from you, rights, especially rights, status, money, and so on. So they try to steal it. Now we came here to put an end to this, to put an end to this matrix, to put an end to all the targeted individual and gag stalking actions, to put an end to stealing, and to reestablish God's will, the divine truth, and the divine justice on earth. Now, what I will say is, again, coming back to what I keep advocating, is that you need to discover the masculine energy in you, to learn to stand up and to fight, to understand that you're equally a warrior as well as a healer. We have the responsibility, according to whatever light, status, and rights you have the responsibility towards others who are being harmed unjustly and who do not have your power, do not have your light. So they cannot defend themselves. You cannot be sitting and watching how somebody is being harmed, do nothing about it. and imagine that you're not guilty, you're complice to whatever is being done. So I view this responsibility of fighting and reestablishing God's will, and divine justice. I view this as the highest form of healing, because um, otherwise it's just hypocrisy to keep saying, I heal others through energy. If somebody says they heal others through energy, because if you do not put up the spiritual fighting to destroy the source of attack, the attack will come back again. So that's just hypocrisy. It's not like you're actually helping them. And I believe the truth healing is comes from ancestral healing and from spiritual fighting, because you end the source of evil. You end the mechanism and the fake legitimacy they create for themselves to keep attacking. So this is the type of permanent healing that you do, and that involves spiritual fighting, as I keep saying. So I believe that we all are responsible for doing this. Um, they essentially, through their attacks, what they do, they bend the will of people. There are many different attacks that what they want to do is diminish the willpower of people in order to influence and program them and manipulate them, to enslave them. They force on people different ideas. So basically, they go against the free will of that person, trying to create totally different thoughts and emotions and feelings, to force them to give undeserved forgiveness, to allow things to happen to them, to give up fighting for themselves, to accept things being done to them, or to act in a certain way, which means also create traumas and addictions on people. They steal their rights, and of course this is just on energy attack, but it takes many different forms. There are projections, there are telepathy projections, holograms projections, um, slander and denigration, which usually it's a strategy of bullying, isolating someone who's targeted individual, and creating enormous denigration. People uh, planning and coordinating lies about that person, and working together to slander that person. So this is also a form of attack, because once you create this energy with the thought and the gossip that you create, and the fake and untruthful declarations you make about a person, um, essentially you create, again, as I said initially, you create forms of thought and forms of emotions being sent to that person. So aside from the fact that you're doing harm and damaging the reputation of that person, which ends up basically undermining his chances or her chances to advance in life. But on energy level, it's an attack as well. But of course, there are even more complex attacks which come from dark magic, spells, sorcery, necromancy, and voodoo, and so many others forms of dark magic. And all of this essentially is illegal, both in astral. Most of them are illegal in 3D world, even reality. But I believe this there can be done more, and personally, I intend actually to be an advocate to create legislation on national and international level, which forbids every single type of attack which is being used to torture individuals within these programs, which are called targeted individuals. But essentially, they just torture and attack and create traumas on people, trying to steal their rights and to stop them from doing their purpose. So I believe all of this, although it sounds a little bit different than what you would define yourself to be as an empath, but I believe that this is part of the responsibility of an empath, because you carry a very special light, and you're very close to God, and you can actually carry on this fight you can stand up for the truth, for divine truth, for divine justice. And it only depends on you to discover the ways to put up the spiritual fighting, which it takes many, many different forms. It's not just one form of spiritual fighting, but to accept it and to assume it, and to understand that you're not only an empath, and this is just a label which is trying to endorse somehow, in a very sick-minded way, enslavement, as I said in the earlier video, namely trying to program people as they awaken to think of themselves as only being empaths or healers, or this is not true, and this is done only in order to block them from discovering the spiritual fighting, discovering how to take back their rights, uh, discovering how to achieve their purpose, and essentially not only blocking them from doing all this, but also continuously feeding on them, um, justifying it essentially because you're a healer. So then that's a given that if you're a healer, others feed on you, which is not true. Of course, it's not true. All of it, it's a deception. So the power resides in your light as empath, as you define yourself, and that light has in itself more power than you would imagine. But it will have even more power if you would actually learn how to use it in a spiritual fighting, and transform it, if you want to call it this way, into a true weapon for justice. Please, I'm going to end here because it's very, very, very difficult to upload longer videos. So I'm making short videos and talking briefly about topics. So please like, share, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can see further videos that I will post. And if you have any questions, any topics that you would like me to approach, or any questions that I could answer, please don't hesitate to write them in the comments or to just send them to me. Thank you.